Greetings and salutations. It's Dave Duford here at DeFord Insurance Group, where I train and recruit agents nationally, become top producers in final expense, Medicare, and annuities, both face-to-face and over the phone. And today I'm doing another top agent interview. Today I've got Anthony B. on the line to tell us about his experiences and success in selling final expense over the phone. Anthony, say hello.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
I'm great, man. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I really appreciate it. So basically what we're going to do here today is just explore Anthony's final expense telesales business, learn a little bit about him, what he's doing to be successful. And really the goal of this is to help you all out there if you're thinking about selling final expense over the phone, just to really pick up some nuggets from somebody who's been doing it very successfully and give yourself obviously the best chance you can to be successful yourself. So Anthony, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up in the insurance business?
Sure. Yeah, I started out years ago in the financial industry, which, there was finance guys and then there were sales guys. I was a sales guy that sold the financial guy's recommendation. So I've been over the phone sales for many, many years and a lot of training in with that industry. There's you're talking to people about sending thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to somebody over the phone whom they've never met. Not an easy job, but, with the right training and tools and learning a couple tips and tricks along the way, it makes life a lot easier. So anyway, started in that industry for a few years, worked under somebody, kind of learned the ropes. And then I ended up opening my own shop. I had about 40 to 45 guys, revolving door, unfortunately, at all times. Market took a dump, as we all know, 2008 and 9, sold the business, fortunately, did quite well. And then on to the next chapter of life, which, kind of sat back. What are we going to do? My wife had this idea. I won't get into all that in this. It's another conversation, but she had an idea for a product. It didn't exist in the marketplace. So we designed, developed this product. And I was a sales rep, amongst wearing other hats, but got that product on the shelf of lots of major retailers, Walmart, Target, Whole Foods, Walgreens, just to name a few of the big players, Best Buy or Bed Bath & Beyond rather. And that's been on autopilot for the most part for a couple of years. And it doesn't really require a whole lot of my time. So a buddy of mine, I should say was a buddy of mine. You'll see where this is going. We kind of stayed in touch and what he's got going on. And he was a personal trainer, not really a sales guy, but he told me he had this life insurance thing going on, and he's talking about the money he's making and money other people's making. And I've always been intrigued by insurance. I know it's something you can make a very good living at, and it's got that residual. It's you can almost build your own pension, if you will, depending on the kind of insurance you're in with. So I poked around a little bit, and met some of the guys he's working with, and I decided to give it a go. And this was face to face. Never really had a whole lot of experience face to face, but I don't know. I think I've always kind of been a sales guy throughout my entire life. I mean, even as a kid, if my parents came home with a $20 pair of sneakers and I'm 11 years old, I'm, like, Mom, Dad, I mean, how are you gonna, I'm 11 years old. Like, you're gonna right now set the path of my future. $20 sneakers, I'm going to get made fun of. They're going to, who knows where this goes. And I mean, we need to do the right thing here, get back to the store, and let's make me presentable with a new pair of Jordans. Doesn't that make sense? Like, this was always the way I was. So,
right.
So I gave the insurance thing a go face to face, and I did very well. And then I quickly learned, unfortunately, I was not getting paid the commission that I was told, which I'm sure has probably happened to quite a few people watching this video right now. And just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, man. I called them out, and they dug themselves deeper, and I was exit stage left. Meanwhile, I was looking for a place to hang my hat, and really wanted to get into this, but over the phone. And how could we not find you? Looking on the internet for final expense and so on and so forth. So we met, and that was, I think it was the later part of 2020.
Yeah.
Had some medical issues. I won't get into all that. So I really didn't get at this until I call it mid-January. Mm-hmm. And mid-January, that was it, man. I hit it, guns blazing, ready to rock.
So you kind of come from an interesting standpoint in the sense you started with face-to-face, which is the typical way that we start. Most final expense agents, at least, start in selling final expense. But then you transition back to what you know and love, which is obviously telesales. So you kind of have this perspective of seeing both sides of the coin. Can you kind of give us the kind of the big differences? Like, think of somebody who's watching this that sees, hey, telesales or face-to-face final expense. Which do I do? Can you kind of go through the pros and cons of each based off of your experience?
Sure. Yeah, the face-to-face, well, if you're not brand new and you've ran a few appointments or made a few phone calls, your typical customer is, low income. I've been in houses where, no, I'm not exaggerating here. There was a woman in a wheelchair and there was cat poop everywhere because she would run it over in a wheelchair and just smeared it all over the floor. And I walk in with my briefcase, I had to put that down. So that was a little discouraging. But, you've got a lot of windshield time, you got a lot of driving, and there's only so many appointments you can run. I just figured the more people you get in front of, whether it's in face-to-face or you talk to, the more opportunities you're going to get to write a policy, right? So I just knew there was a better way. And I'm in South Florida. I'm running from, I was doing a couple 100 miles a day at some point. Yeah. And Florida's everybody knows, where do the most people go that, retire? I think Florida's probably the most popular state, if not the most. I'm sure the top 2 or 3.
Right.
So pretty competitive. And as far as over the phone, I'm licensed in several states. I write business in several states. And, it's a big transition. You can't just have some magic script and think that, you dial enough leads and you're just going to make this phenomenal living. You need to, how do you shake somebody's hand over the phone? How do you look somebody in the eye over the phone? How do they know if you're smiling over the phone? How do you come across as a trustworthy person over the phone? There's a lot that goes into that. I do, this might sound strange to some people, but I actually have a mirror hanging on the wall in my office. And when I'm on the phone, I look at it and I make sure I'm smiling. And just stupid, weird little things like that. But it makes a difference because they can't see you smiling. They need to feel you smiling.
Right.
And so as far as, making that transition, it wasn't so much of a big deal for me because I have that phone experience. And over the phone, you could be anybody you want. I'm not saying to be fake and phony because they'll smell you out on that. But, you act as if, I've been doing this for 6 months. I act like I've been doing it for 16 years.
Sure.
And they probably think that.
Sure.
But, if you're in person, you might be shy and timid and nervous. You gotta talk with confidence. You got to talk with conviction. You've got to talk with passion. They need to feel you over the phone without seeing you.
So it's not so much what you say is important, but it's how you say you would
absolutely. Absolutely. It's like, and I've actually done this training with a lot of the guys on my team. Sorry to cut you off. I actually get, we've got 11 guys in our team now. I get a children's book. And if anybody has kids, like my wife can't hear me right now, but when my kids, when it's time to read them a story at night, they always want dad to read it because I change my voice tones and I use voice inflection. And you're telling a story, whether you're telling a story to a 6-year-old or you're, informing a 60-year-old about final expense insurance. You need to make it exciting. You can't be boring. You got to use your enthusiasm. You need to use your emotion. You need to change your voice tones. You need to be interesting. For them to be interested, you need to be interesting.
Yeah, I think, guys, if you learn one thing from this, that right there is 100%. If you're going to do telesales, and I see the same thing, you lose, it's like this. Poof, you're gone. Well, not even my face on the picture, right? It's like you, when their mind's eye, you have to create the things that you would normally do anyway, face to face, that you take for granted. And I think that big change can make the world's difference for sure.
Definitely.
Thank you for sharing that. And then of course, another advantage, no dog poop, cat pee.
Yeah. Oh yeah. None of that. None of that.
How could you say no to the face to face?
Yeah, that was, just the amount of driving and, how many appointments can you set in a day and then how many, no show. Mm-hmm. And at best, I think if you're lucky, I think the most I might have had like 7 appointments in a day and I probably sat on 4 and, I closed 2 or 3. I did pretty well in those 6 or so weeks I was face to face, but nothing close to what's possible over the phone.
Yeah. So let's kind of transition to kind of what you're doing.
Okay.
Because we're going to talk more about the sales strategy that you use kind of in a kind of 30,000 foot overview, but let's talk leads. A lot of agents, they're thinking about doing telesales and They're concerned about what leads are available. How do you generate leads? How do you talk to the good leads? You have a pretty unique strategy that you've used really pretty much from the beginning. Can you kind of explain your strategy, generally speaking, how you generate leads
Sure.
for you and your team?
Yeah. When I was face to face, I was buying leads from the lead vendor. I tried them all. I won't drop anybody's name here, but I tried them all. Some are better than others, but still, a lead is a lead is a lead, which they say in any industry, of course. But a lead that you generate on your own, there's a lot that goes into that. I think it's like marketing 101. Somebody needs to hear something or see something 3 times before they associate that and recognize that with, okay, this is recognizable, and then it just clicks in their head. So I figured, these lead vendors are generating leads on Facebook. How are they doing? There's got to be a way to figure this out. So lots of people out there, lots of courses out there, lots of training out there, lots of companies that'll do it for you. But, I need to make this as cost effective as possible, because I do believe, it's a pipeline. You need to have as many people as humanly possible to talk to. And again, the more people you get in front of, whether it's face to face or over the phone, the more opportunities you have to write a policy. So I wanted to have an abundance of leads. I wanted to have at least, 100 a week, and buying them from a lead vendor nowadays. I mean, I think you're lucky to get them at $20 a pop. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, a lot of trial and error, but I finally came across a course that I did it myself. And it's been successful from day one. Every guy on my team has their own course. I don't sell the course. I have nothing to do with the course. I just make the introduction to somebody who has the course. And it's on Facebook. And my numbers are, I spend some money. I mean, I'll get into this here if that's all right with you.
Sure,
okay.
Please. Yeah.
So I spend about $1,000 a week. And I bring in roughly 110 or so leads per week. So I'm averaging about $9 a piece. I've run several ads in several states. Some ads come in at $3 or $4 a lead. Some ads come in at, $11, $12 a lead. But on average, I'm probably $8 or $9. Now they know my name when they fill out their information on Facebook. They know my name before they even fill out their information, I have to say. Once they fill out my information, they then get a text message, and I'll fast forward on this here in a minute. They get a text message. They see my name again. They then have the chance to go ahead and schedule a one-on-one appointment with me for a schedule that I set in my calendar. So they have to go ahead, choose a day and a time that they want, and also that works within my schedule. They have to answer an additional 4 or 5 questions. On average, I'm about 25%. So out of those 110 leads, about 25% go ahead and schedule their own appointment. They answer these additional questions, choose a day and the time, what have you. So what does that leave us? Call it 25, give or take.
Right.
Now, despite them going through these additional steps, filling out the information, scheduling a day and time, 55% of them still don't answer the darn phone. So it is what it is. But when they do, I'm closing about 75% of every single person I speak to.
Sweet.
Nice. Yeah. My average premium is just shy of $1,100.
Wow.
Yeah. Now there's, as I'm sure there's a method to that madness. It's not just, again, reading some magic script. I've got a couple things I figured out along the way, little tricks that I get that higher premium and what have you. But the leads are key. I wouldn't do the amount of business I do, or the volume that I do, or the average premium I do without that influx of leads. And it's an ongoing thing. I mean, I'm changing things literally every week. I don't just set it on autopilot. I'm
not
changing
a set
leads.
It and forget it thing.
No, every week. I mean, sometimes you go into a learning limited status on Facebook. Sometimes there's this, there's that, there's all kinds of things that can work for you or against you. So I'm not exaggerating. Every week I'm making tweaks and changes. Like one week I might have leads coming in from a certain state at $4 a piece. The next week they're $14. I haven't changed anything. So, there's, you increase your daily budget, decrease your budget. There's lots of little tips and tricks that I think I've figured out along the way, but it's a lot of trial and error. There's no doubt about that. So, rather than spending 20 some odd dollars on a lead vendor, I can get twice as many leads because I'm paying half the money.
Yeah. And what the lead says,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Big problem. I just put a Facebook video out or on Facebook purchase leads from vendors. You guys, if you haven't gotten into this yet, you don't know really what they're saying on their leads. And Anthony strategist, he has full control over the creative, what
Absolutely.
the lead says. And
yeah,
that's night and day, guys. And it's getting real bad in this business that you just have no idea what your vendor is actually saying in there. If you've ever called a lead and they're like, where's my free government handout for burial insurance. Like, that kind of is probably what they're saying or referring
and
to.
I don't mention anything about free. I'm clear as day. I mean, I won't get into the exact language I use, but they know absolutely there is a cost involved. Nobody's expecting it to be free. Number one. Number two, there is no, who is this? What is this about? When I call, they know my name. Like I say my name, I announce my name. They know exactly who I am.
Nice.
They might not be sitting by the phone waiting for my call, of course, but they know who I am.
Sure.
And there's, I think a lot to be said for that. That I don't know if that would make it a warm lead per se, but
warms it up better than
absolutely
just starting from square one.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and I'm glad you brought this up, because I know a lot of agents have considered doing their own marketing on Facebook. They obviously see the benefits of it. Clearly it's good for you, and a lot of agents could potentially take advantage of this. Is this something that you think realistically managing their own marketing is something that most agents could do, or like, how difficult is this to really do, to manage it yourself?
I probably spend, in the beginning, it's going to be a couple hours a week for sure. But, to some extent it's on autopilot, I guess, but there's certain days I run my ads, certain times I run my ads, certain times I have to create new ads. I mean, I can put an ad together and have that listed in, I don't know, 90 seconds now. So you definitely don't need to be tech savvy. The beginning, there's a little bit, but I'll be honest, like what I do with, each one of the guys on my team, we do a screen share. We set up a Zoom call. We do a screen share, and they see exactly what I'm doing. And I copy and paste a lot of what's in my CRM, which I know we're going to get to in a minute, into, their CRM. We go ad by ad. So there's a lot of time that I spend with my guys initially until they learn it and they figure it out on their own. So they can kind of watch me do it. Then once they've got it down, they do it on their own. But I mean, there's a guy, there's a guy on my team that I want to say he's late 50s, not tech savvy at all. I mean, I'm telling him, hey, close that tab. What's a tab? He doesn't know anything.
Yeah, right.
True story. Yeah. I'm like, dude, you got 90 different windows open and programs. Like, this computer's a piece of what. Yeah, well, let's do a couple things. But he's got it, is my point. He's got it. He handles it.
So if he can figure it out, like I can see that person. I deal with it sometimes with contracting agents. It's like the big button in front of you, push it.
Yeah.
So he can figure it out. So this must not be too terribly bad.
No, it's not. It's in the beginning because it's a bit of a foreign language, if you will. But once you got it, you got it.
Yeah. And there is, guys, there's tons of value controlling the lead generation process. Because once you get good at it, on your end, if times change and Facebook gets tough, you can transition to YouTube or some other social media, and kind of how those ads are run are very similar. The strategies involve of testing and tweaking and seeing which performs and which doesn't.
Right.
So it's a good skill set to develop, and it does take time, but yeah, it's absolutely worth it. So here's the thing too. I mean, again, number one, you're generating your own leads. We know this. You're doing it on Facebook with success. Now, you and I talked prior to this. You also have, and you've kind of mentioned this a little bit, but I hope you could expand on this. You got some, I guess we could call additional back-end strategies to squeeze more out of these leads. Can you kind of go over again what those are, kind of what makes the difference, I guess, in your system than just making phone calls?
For sure. Yeah. So first they fill out the information on Facebook. They become a lead. Once they become a lead in my CRM, they will automatically get a text message. They see my name again, and I'm always pushing for them to, I let them know, hey, I'm going to be in contact with you in about 48 hours. I'm not sending this text message. This is set up behind the scenes.
All automated.
So this is, yes, all automated. So this is working when I'm not working. This is somebody fills out a lead at 11:30 at night. At 11:31, the minute after they became a lead, they're getting a text message from me that looks like I'm writing it. Hey, I'm going to be in contact with you in 48 hours. If you haven't had a chance to schedule your appointment just yet, here's the link. Boom. 24 hours later, I believe I have it set up. If they still don't schedule an appointment, they get another text, hey, just in case you missed it, blah, blah, blah. Here you go. Another link to my calendar. They also get an email immediately that, again, it's kind of getting done on autopilot behind the scenes here, with my picture, my family and I, the picture they get of me, and it's got all my contact details, letting them know I'm going to be reaching out to them. And again, pushing for that calendar appointment. So there's a lot of things that goes on behind the scenes as far as when they first become a lead. Now, I'll be honest with you, for out of those 110 or so leads that I bring in, let's say 25 or so scheduled appointments. Most people on this video are going to think I'm nuts right now, but I'm not even dialing 70% of those leads. Never even get a phone call from me. If they don't schedule an appointment, I don't even call them. I just don't even have the time because I have so many other people on those appointments that do. So, but I want these other, I want these other 70 people to schedule the appointment because there's just more serious intent. So, hey man, my most valuable asset is my time. I can't get more of it, can't buy more of it, can't replace it. So I want to spend my time with those that have that serious intent. And for that reason, I spend more in leads. Could I get the same amount of business, write the same amount of policies and the same premium with half of that lead budget? Probably. I'd probably work a whole lot harder too. But it's the cost of doing business is kind of how I see it. Now, there's guys on my team that definitely spends less than half of what I'm spending. And they're doing great, but I not only have to write my own business, but I've got 11 guys that I'm very involved with on a daily, basis. And I have another business, the one for my wife and I. So,
right.
I'm definitely full-time at this though. I mean, 8:30 to 6, I'm in front of my computer at all times. And then of course, after hours, before hours, I'm getting text messages here and there, but back to the CRM. So it's not only when they become a lead, they get these text messages. If somebody has an appointment, they missed it, I change the status. Okay. Then they get another text message that they missed it. Then a day later, they get another text message that they missed it, that they want to reschedule. And I think it's after 6 days, if they haven't done anything, they've never scheduled an appointment, I have another text message that sends out an actual form that they can complete. And the verbiage I use is something to the effect of, hey, if it's easier for you, more convenient for you, you want to fill out this form. And basically they fill out this form with all of their information. It would be on an application. Then I can quote them from there. And then, after somebody becomes a client, I write the policy. I think I do 20 days later, they get a text message. Hey, this is Anthony, yada, yada, yada. Just checking in. How you doing? You need any help registering for your online account? Want to make sure you got your policy in the mail. And then I have another one that goes out for referrals, so it's an ongoing, evolving thing. And
cool.
Yeah, I mean, even referrals, I bet, I don't know, I probably, I bet at least 10% of the policies I write, I get at least one referral from.
Really? That's excellent.
Yeah.
Question for you. I'm curious. You mentioned and that's, I think a principle of success in any insurance business is you want to operate from a position of strength. And I think Anthony's system is exemplary of this. We all think about how to pay less for leads as new agents or how to make more with less, but that's kind of a scarcity mindset I look at as,
sure.
and most people who think that way struggle and they hold on to those leads like they're some sort of, sacred cow. Whereas really the best place to be in is you just have too much to do. You're constantly just inundated with so much. It changes your mindset. And the sooner you can get to something like what Anthony's describing, the better. I do have a question though for you, for those that 75% or so that don't set an appointment. I'm curious, do you do anything at all to go after those? Like you do like the ones that don't reschedule, but do you have any automated systems to try to convert those people later? Okay. So you do. Okay.
Yeah. So they're the ones that they're getting a text message a few times over the first week. After 6 days,
Gotcha.
If they do nothing, they get that workflow. But I also have, occasionally, some of my guys on my team, maybe when they first start out, they don't have the funds to get going.
Yeah, perfect.
I let them dial my leads, have at it. We work out a commission split, things like that.
Perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I try to make the most of them as best I can, of course. But
so you've talked a little bit about kind of your process, that there's no magic script, there's no magic bullets. Can you kind of dive into more when it comes to your kind of mindset and strategy when picking that phone up to call the client and what you say and what you do to get them to buy?
Yeah. So one, kind of getting back to what you just said a moment ago here, and I don't mean to come across like, some overly confident jerk. I promise that's not me. But I do have so many leads because of that. If I get any resistance, real resistance, I get an attitude, who's next? I'll hang right up on them. So I kind of have that, I don't give a, what attitude. And I think they sense that over the phone. And for that reason, hey, you always want what you can't have. Right. So that kind of comes across, I think, in my, I guess in my demeanor, but in whether it's, just the confidence I have or whatever the case would be. But, I go into it And I know, okay, I know they filled out the information. Clearly they need coverage. They want coverage. So I'm the guy that has it. And I try to come across like they're lucky to have me on the phone calling them. So, it's a question of who's buying, because on every single phone call, somebody's getting sold. Either you're selling the policy you're looking to sell, or they're selling you and the excuse on why they can't buy. That's what it comes down to. So there is no magic script, but there are a lot of scripts out there, a lot of Frankenstein pitches put together. I've written several scripts over the years, especially in the financial industry. And there's a method to it, like in the script that I have, I'm covering objections from people before they become objections. I'm covering objections that they don't even know they have initially, but I know it'll come up later. I cover each and every angle, because the truth is there's only so many objections there are,
right,
that can exist, right? And as long as you have enough rebuttals, there are no more objections. Now, not having the money, that's not an objection, that's a condition. But do they really not have the money? Is that real? Is that really what it is? Well, it's your job to dig and kind of find that out. So I don't just accept that. I'll help them find the money, and I stand people right up. There's no please coming out of my mouth. There's no thank you coming out of my mouth. I look for it on the other end. And as far as, how do you handle that? How do you talk to somebody? Certainly with respect. I mean, make no mistake about it. I educate people. I need to make sure that they understand what they have. I need to make sure that they understand the options. I mean, I explain the difference between term life insurance, whole life insurance. I let them know exactly who I am. I mean, I'm all day on the phone with somebody, I don't know, on average, 20 to 25 minutes all day before I even give any kind of price, any kind of quote. I'm building that rapport. Again, I'm covering credibility. I discuss each and every aspect. My retention rate is fantastic. As far as customers canceling policies, I don't really know. I mean, since mid-January, I know I've written well over 100 policies. I'm not exaggerating. I'm going to say I probably have 8, maybe 10 that have canceled. And I think a lot of that has to do with, because they understand what they have, they're comfortable with what they've got, and they buy me. I'm selling myself. I mean, they need the product, they want the product. Are they buying me is the question. I think that's the case with every single person on the phone. So, do they want to deal with a guy like me? Do they like me? Do they like the tone of my voice? Do they like the way that I've handled things? Do they like the way that I've explained things? Even if they're almost guessing at the end if this is the best price or if they can find better, I think a lot of people are just kind of willing to look past that because they believe in me. They feel my passion, and they know I'm doing the right thing.
100%, man. Guys, listen to this. This is how insurance is sold. It's not the company. People don't.
Nope.
The no-name companies we sell on a daily basis. If you're new to this, it'll crack you up. The people buy because they are by you first, and everything that you put into it that gets them to the point where they say, "Yeah, I believe in this person, and I want to do business with him because he's a professional." So,
yep.
Awesome.
And I let them know, I tell them right, on the call, I say, look, I'm not some 1-800 number. I'm not just some one phone call thing. I'm going to be your agent for life. So, we've all had the unfortunate experience of having to call AT&T, Comcast, who knows, however, whenever, at some point in our life, professionally or personally. And you call the 1-800 number, you explain your story, you get transferred 4 times, you finally get to the right department. 45 minutes later, they wear you down, and hopefully it gets resolved. Hopefully. Maybe. You can avoid all that. Call me in the email I sent you. It's got my cell phone. It's got my direct line. Give me the abbreviated version. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it from there. Awesome. So what am I doing right there? I'm selling myself is what I'm doing. Right. And again, this is just trying to get them to buy me.
Right. 100%. So think of the new agent. You train agents who are new to final expense telesales. So you've lived this on a daily basis. What do you think is most important for new agents that are selling final expense over the phone to focus on when it comes to training?
Yeah, I think, with any job, no matter what it is, you've got to have all the right tools. You're showing up at a job site, you better make sure you've got every tool that you need to get the job done. You're selling insurance. I often say it has a lot to do with the little things. And I think a lot of people overlook this. As an example, just, ask anybody, is it more professional to have an email address of anthonyinsurance@gmail.com or, Anthony at Assurance Life Group, and that's just the name of my agency anyway. Or is it more professional to have an actual business email address? Again, it's the picture of my family and I in my email signature. It's the carrier logos in my email signature. It's the workflows and everything that goes on in that CRM. It's so many little intricate details that play such a huge part. I mean, for those of you watching this video, if you don't know how to trial close, if you don't know how to box close, if you don't know how to isolate, agree, overcome, man, these are things that need to be done. If you want a closing ratio, I'm not saying I'm the best of the best. I know I'm not, but if you want a closing ratio where you can make, this is not a job. This is a career. This is something you can build a life on, build a family with, buy a home with, have a retirement. This is what it's all about. But you got to give it everything you've got, or you're just going to be a statistic. I mean, you would know better than I. How many people fail in this industry? Probably 80, 90%.
Yeah. More.
Is it really?
Yeah. 90 plus.
But these are people, I think, that are probably getting into it and saying a prayer to the big man upstairs, crossing their fingers and basing it on luck. I'm not going to gamble my future, my family on luck. I tell you that much. I'm going to go into it with everything I've got. My toolbox needs to be full. I need to have the amount of leads necessary. I need to have the right leads necessary. I need to have the right mentoring, which is key. I need to have the right script. I need to have the right rebuttals. I need to have the right email signature. I need to make sure that the number showing up on their caller ID is the right number that is more likely for them to answer. I need to know even how to dial the phone. Some people just dial once and they figure, I don't want to call back. No way, man. It's 3 times back to back. Let's go. Morning, afternoon, and night. Whatever it takes, that's the way you got to look at it. But I think having sales training is crucial. I think it's everything. I think that's the difference. I mean, again, I've always been somewhat of a salesperson, back to the sneaker story there when I was 10 years old. But, these things can be taught. You just need to. Yes. There's a big difference between talking with someone and talking at someone, having a conversation, I have a lot of fun on the phone. I mean, I get people laughing all the time. They laugh at me. I laugh at them. I make fun of myself in the picture I send them in my email. I say, hey, I just sent you an email. It's got all my contact details, even got my pretty picture. I'm not real pretty, fair warning. And they all laugh. So, but my wife and kids are beautiful. And, the trade-off is you got to look at my ugly mug, but you get to see my beautiful wife and kids. And then they laugh again. So, I have a lot of fun throughout the entire phone call. I have some crazy, wild conversations. Why? Because they buy me. Yeah. But I'm not BSing. You definitely don't want to do that. I mean, you need to be a chameleon. You need to be able to, I can rub elbows with Joe the janitor or Joe the billionaire, and I treat them just the same. And I think for that reason, people respect that. They sense a certain sense of realness, and that's what it is, man. You can't come across like a fake, can't come across like a phony, can't come across like some used car salesman. You got to be honest, you got to be legitimate, and you just got to talk with someone, and you'll be very surprised how much they're willing to open up. I mean, knock on wood, I don't think I've ever, and this surprised me from the very beginning, ever had a single person give me any resistance when I'm asking them for a social security number or a routing and checking account number after being on the phone for 40 minutes. And they might even say, I've had people say, I can't believe I'm giving you this information. I said, I know, right? I'm sitting on the beach in Jamaica right now. This is crazy. I say it just like that. And then they laugh and, but again, you just have fun with it, man. And also I tell you another thing is, like you mentioned a minute ago, some people hang on to these leads and they cherish them so much, like it's just gold, and they're so scared to blow that deal. You got to shake that. You got to lose that. You got to just, who's next? Because it's definitely a numbers game.
Yep.
Without a doubt.
Numbers. Sure.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, Anthony, this has been great, man. And those of you out there, watch this video again, read between the lines. Anthony's laid it all out there for you. There's tons of great information here. And Anthony's so nice to share with us. So in case you guys are wondering, Anthony, like he says, he does recruit and train agents, how to do this. It's part of his business. Anthony, tell us a little bit more about how that works, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So every week, every Thursday, 8:30 in the morning, we have a team meeting. We do a Zoom meeting. And one week we might discuss underwriting, which plays a big part of this, as I'm sure, most of you should know anyway, huge part of it. And then we do sales training. We do script training. We do carrier training. We do it all. And of course, everybody has access to all the training you offer as well. I also open up my calendar, I think 4 days during the week for one-on-one coaching appointments for individuals to, spend some time with me. The very beginning, it's hours, that we'll spend, for the first week or two, just kind of getting you set up, getting you dialed in. Because again, you can have a script and you can read the script and you can get your laydowns, you'll write business, but you really, there's a difference between, getting lucky and closing 75%.
Right.
So there's a way to do that. And that's what we teach. I do have, I'm sure a lot of you guys, the name Matt Milletti should sound familiar. I'm sure a lot of you guys see him if you're on the group me text with Bad Production. He's my partner in crime. And we work very, very closely together. We're always trying new things, always implementing new things. We're usually the guinea pigs to see what works well first. As an example, I'm doing a video ad right now. It's being done as we speak, and I'll probably try that early part of next week, as far as see how that converts with leads. And,
cool.
So lots of different things. Matt and I, again, we work very, very closely together. And, sometimes it's just training on insurance in general. Sometimes it's underwriting trainings. It's walking through the applications. Hey, I think I find a lot of people that don't, I still at all times have the David Duford carrier cheat sheet up on my computer at all times. And I use that every single day. I'm not exaggerating.
Great. Perfect. Good.
I see so many people ask questions that I'm just thinking, open the carrier cheat sheet. It's right there. I mean, the answers are right there, but I don't know. I mean, my wife calls me Mr. Yeah, I know. My wife calls me Mr. Rogers sometimes. I'm a creature of habit. I walk in the door. I put my keys in the same place. I put my money clip in the same place. My phone is always in the same place. My glasses in the same, you name it. And I organize myself and my desk and my favorites and my carriers and my logins, and I have everything scheduled. So when I'm on the phone with somebody and I get that yes, I'm ready to go. There's no, let me find my password and I can't log in, computer issues.
Yeah.
That plays a huge part too. So, I teach everybody how to do every single thing, from how to organize their favorites from their carriers to how to make sure you keep your David Duford carrier cheat sheet up to, to the sales training, to the script training, to, you name it, so like I said, we do the team meeting every week, and then there's a lot of one-on-one time.
Cool. So how can people watching this reach out to you if they want to learn more?
Email is going to be the best bet. Anthony@assurancelifegroup.com, which I'm sure you're going to put there in the bottom of this.
Yeah. So if you're watching this, just click the description box and then email. Anthony will be there. Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much, man. I enjoyed it. It was great.
Yeah, likewise. My pleasure, Dave. Always great to talk.
All right. We'll see you guys around. Thanks a lot.